President, the Senate notes that the Sars protest, which assumed a global dimension, began on 3rd October 2020, when the video of a Sars officer who allegedly shot a young Nigerian in Ughelli, Delta State, surfaced online. Further notes that on Wednesday, 7th October 2020, youths in Lagos State set out for a 3-day protest to call for the disbandment of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, Sars, unit of the Nigeria Police Force, as part of the push for reforms in the unit. Aware that 7th October 2020, the start of a 14-day protest in Lagos that eventually turned violent and was hijacked by hoodlums. Further aware that at about 6:45 p.m. on Tuesday, 20th of October 2020, several media accounts revealed the peaceful protesters were allegedly shot by the Nigerian military at the Lekki toll gate. Concerned that the alleged shooting of protesters further infuriated protesters and tension flared, with consequent violent protests and the beginning of wanton looting and destruction of public and private assets all over the country, and particularly Lagos, the epicenter of all the protests. Worried that the private and public assets destroyed by hoodlums in Lagos was estimated to be in the region of 1 trillion naira by the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Further worried that the long list of destroyed public and private properties in Lagos are Ajeromi Felodu Local Government Secretariat, the Palace of the Oba of Lagos, Lagos High Court Igboshere, Oyibo BRT Terminus, Ojodubega BRT Terminus, Vehicle Inspection Office Ojodubega, Lagos State Public Works Corporation, Ojodubega, Lagos City Hall and Circle Mall, Lekki, numerous luxury shops in Surulere, the Nation newspaper, TVC, and ShopRite Lekki, including 27 BRT vehicles estimated to cost $200,000 each, and another 57 BRT vehicles estimated to cost $100,000 each, all totaling about 3.9 billion naira. And alarmed that 25 police stations were reportedly burnt in Lagos. Orile, Amunkoko, Layeni, Ilasamaja, Ikotun, Aja, Igondo, Elemoro, Makinde, Onikpanu, Ibutero, Pensinima, Isokoko, Alade, Sele, Igboilerin, Shibiri, Bagada, Onilekepe, Makoko, Daliko, Asaun, Makiyo, Amuwo Odofin, anti-kidnapping, Surulere. Other police stations that were vandalized but not burnt were Ojo, Ojodu, Mowe, PPL, and Morogo. The Senate accordingly resolves to urge the federal government to set up a visitation panel to assess the level of destruction of public and private assets in Lagos. 2, urge the federal government to establish a special economic assistance to Lagos State in recognition of its strategic socio-economic significance by paying a financial grant in aid of not less than 1% of the share of revenue allocated to the federal government in the federal account. 3, get the Senate Committee on State and Local Government to monitor compliance. Mr. President, I so move.
Whenever there are destructions, it is the role of government to adequately provide compensation, especially for the fact that government is supposed to protect life and properties. But where there is a problem like this, I think it is very important that other similar issues should also feature. My constituents have come up, so many of them in groups from different villages, seeking government intervention in the destruction of their properties. So I here support the idea of compensation to all victims of similar destructions as it happens during the Sars. As the NSAS victims are being compensated, so also the victims of banditry, where hoodlums also attack homes, burn down their properties, cut away their livelihoods, should also be compensated.
Every right-thinking Nigerian cannot be at ease seeing and hearing what took place during the NSAS protestations in the country. It is obvious that the demonstrations that were thought to be peaceful demonstrations turned up to be one of the worst protests that this country has witnessed in recent times. I would therefore want to appeal that we tread with some caution. Let's wait for a while. Let's see the outcome of these tribunals, judicial tribunals. Let's see the outcome. If the outcome is such that it's not palatable, it's not acceptable by the majority of Nigerians, then we come here and take our duty as the parliament seriously and take positions on these motions. But for now, it is prejudicial for us to take this matter.
I would rather think about the lesson we have learned or we learned from the exercise, the NSAS problem. We've heard the analysis from those who presented the motion and my colleagues who also contributed. So I'll just quickly look at what I consider to be the lessons. One is that I believe that we've not done enough to protect the interests of the young people of this country. We still owe them responsibility to provide them jobs and a secured future. This can be done by a conscious effort to be able to provide, build, and establish industries and provide an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive, to enable them suck this army of unemployed youths. Because unless that happens, we'll continue to experience this kind of agitation and protest. The second is it means that the security men we have in this country have been overstressed and possibly not enough. I spoke with Gesho Mbasi on the day this happened and a number of our colleagues from Cross River. And they said they contacted the army and the police. The response in each of those contacts was that they were overstretched, and I believe them. So this time for us to begin to consider what some of us have been talking about, which is the decentralization of our police sector, so that each state should be able to have the number and the quality of police they need, because if that happened in the past, probably this would have been contained. And even some of these people who are protesting would have been members of those state police force. So I believe that this is time for us to have a rethink on this issue of the security decentralization in this country. I do hope that this is a wake-up call for all of us.
We know it too that judicial panels have been set up in different states, across the country where, inquisition is being made into what happened, during the Sars protests in Nigeria. But I just think too that some of the things that happen in some of the states, which were peculiar to some of these states, this is the political marketplace for the whole country. We should be able to mention them. Because particularly in Edo, where the two correctional centers were broken into, and 1,993 inmates were released, 200 of them were on death row. That is enough to compromise the security of the whole country. And that is what we face. And that is why today there is complete breakdown of law and order in Edo. I mean, you have been reading that, and to the dismay of everyone, a segment of this country that has gone into the hand of hoodlums. Of course, we know it too that is going to affect the totality of this country. So whatever it has to be, the two correctional centers that are in Edo today, all the doors are open. There is nothing there. I think federal government should do something quickly, because some prisoners that were even brought in from outside of the state, now they are on the prowl. Nobody knows what they are going to do. I just believe this one should be, brought to the fore. And of course, all the police stations in one local government, the Obaka local government, 8 of them, they were all erased, they were burnt. Arms, ammunition looted. Today, no recovery has been made. So, in as much as these judicial panels are sitting, it is important that the law enforcement agencies in Nigeria should work in quick double step, so that all the looted arms and ammunition should leave the hands of these criminals. And thirdly, Mr. President, I have listened to some of the contributions made by very notable Nigerians, including your very good self. We should be concerned about how to prevent this in the future. Maybe before they submit these reports, we just pray to God that there will be no upset again. There will be no unrest that will be exhibited by our youth. Government should start to take proactive steps in making sure that our youth are gainfully employed.